Okay, one of the things that we've been tasked with is to try to find the perimeter of these polygons. Anybody have number 1? Yes. 24 meters is correct for number 1. What about number 2? 40 centimeters. Excellent, because we got that label. Number 3, Finley. 36 yards is correct. Number 4. Not 160, but 120 feet. Nice work. Number 5. 16 inches. Excellent. And Santiago? 60 millimeters. Okay? So these all deal with perimeters, which again, as a reminder, it's the outside that we add up. Okay? So one of the things that we are going to be doing today is we're going to be able to find the circumference of a circle. Okay? And with that circumference, it's much like perimeter. Okay? It's not going to be anything on the inside. It's going to be the distance around that circle. All right? So, first thing that you need to know is what's a radius and what's a diameter. Okay? So here's what I can tell you. We have a circle like so. The diameter goes straight through the middle from one side to the other. Okay? It goes all the way through, one side to the other, straight through the middle. That's called the diameter. All right? The second thing that I also know is in that same circle, the difference is this is a radius. It goes from the center to the outside. Doesn't go there. Now, how many radius are in a diameter? 2. Excellent. Okay? So what you can see is, if you know the diameter, that's 2 times the radius. If you know the radius, it's the diameter divided by 2. We've got those. Okay? So that's kind of what we're going to be working on here. So I have 2 problems for you. First off, this 20 feet, it tells you that this is the diameter. So I want to be able to find the radius. Can anybody tell me what the radius is if the diameter is 20? Excellent. That first one is 10 feet. So we've got the radius divided by 2, and we're looking at 10. Second one, if that is the radius, what is the diameter? Yes. 14. So you can see diameter equals 2 times the radius. So we're going to multiply 7 times 2. Our answer is 14 meters. So in this next one, if we know the diameter of the circle is 16, what's the radius? 8. Good, because we take it and cut it in half. If we know that the radius is 9 yards, then the diameter is 18 yards. And that's what I have for those. Okay? So as a reminder, the diameter is the whole thing across through the center. The radius is half of that. Now, the reason I say through the center, that's not a diameter. Okay? It has to go through the center of that circle. All right? Any questions on that? All right. So how do you suppose that we would find the circumference of a circle, which is actually the perimeter? We'd measure it, right? Darn near impossible. Okay? Because I'd have to be going like, and I don't even know if I could do it. Okay? I've seen some people take a piece of string, wrap it around the circle, and then they measure the string. Works, unless you've got this massive circle. Okay? So what we have is a couple formulas that we're going to be able to use. The first one that we are able to use is circumference equals pi times diameter. We just talked about diameter. It's the one all the way across. The second one, circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. Either one of these will give you the exact same answer. So if you know the diameter, you can use pi d. If you know the radius, you can use 2 pi r. A lot more people use this one because when a little bit later, we're going to find area, and area is going to be pi r squared. And then you only need to know r and r. You don't have to worry about d, even though it's not real hard to find d. So pi d or 2 pi r is what we're working on today. So how does this work? It works like this. I'm going to find the circumference of this flying disc, or frisbee probably. Okay? So I'm looking for this distance all the way around. What's this? It's the radius. Okay? So I got 2 pi r. Now, when you're doing these problems, you do not have to write the formula down. But I do want to see what you substitute in. So this is 2. They tell me to use 3.14. 3.14 times 5. And then once you have your calculator, you can solve it. If you don't even know don't have a calculator, 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 3.14 is 31.4, and it will be inches. That's my answer. They will usually tell you what to use for pi, like in this case. The ones that we're going to use are 3.14. We're going to use 22/7 because that's the fraction closest to pi. And sometimes we'll use the pi button or just the actual pi symbol. Okay, I'll show you why there. All right, second one. Find the circumference of the watch face. Use 22/7. Now, here's why you might use 22/7. If I set this up, 28 is what? The diameter. So I'm going to go pi d. So if I use 22/7 times, I'm going to make this as a fraction like so. And if I see the 7 on the bottom and the 28 on the top, I can reduce by dividing both of these by 7. And I'll get 22 times 4, which gives me 88 millimeters. So the way I would use it is if the diameter or the radius is a multiple of 7, I might use 22/7. If it's up here, I'm going to get some crazy number. Okay? Now, I do want to show you this. If I use 3.14 times 28, who's got a calculator? Multiply 3.14 times 28. 87.92. See the difference? Now, I want you to use the pi button times 28 on your calculator. Can you tell me what you get for that?
87.964.
Hold on, 87.964.
5943.
I got 3 different answers. I'm probably going to take all 3 of them, unless it tells you what to do. So if it just says, find the circumference of the watch, I'll take any of those 3 answers. If it says to use 22/7, then that's the answer I want. Which one of these 3, 88, 87.92, or this one, are the closest to the actual number? This one. Because your pi button is the closest to pi that you can get. Okay? This one cuts off at 1/4. This one cuts off like 8 decimals. That one's not real close. Okay? So finding the circumference, it'll tell you what to use. So what I want you to do is to come up with these 3 circumference. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to come up with these 3. And notice you can use either 3.14 or 22/7. I'll leave it up to you. Okay, so please do those 3 now. Use a calculator if you need to. Those are our answers. Okay, about 5.14, about 18, about 77.1. Don't forget, in that last example, make sure you add both of the radius, 15 and 15, or a total of 30. Okay? All right, the last one that I have for you is this. We have a peso that has a diameter of 21 millimeters. A peso is a coin from Mexico. Okay? What's the radius of that peso? And then what's the circumference of that peso? Please take a minute and try those answers now. Anybody think they got the radius? What do you got? 10.5 is correct. That would be millimeters. Anybody think they got the circumference?
I got 65.94.
55.94?
No, I got 65.94.
65.94 is also correct. Okay? And I know some people did 66 here because we got 21, which divides by 7 also. Okay? So in our answers, the radius, again, is 10.5, and it's about 66. So, for today, we've talked about 4 different things. Diameter, distance across through the center. Radius, from the center to the outside. Circumference, either 2 pi r or pi d. And then we talked about the semicircle, where you had to find half of the circumference and then add the diameter to that. Your homework for today is page 321 through 323. You're going to do problems 3 through 21, but you get to skip number 12, all of those, and 24. The first ones basically deal with what's the diameter if you know the radius, what's the radius if you know the diameter. Okay? This will be due tomorrow, and I will give tests back tomorrow as well.